it works, but after 3 months, you're like, okay, I am drained. I don't like my business.
Mhm.
I am worried about and anxious getting on phone calls with my clients. Like I've built this thing, built this monster that's not in control and I'm losing because of it. And so
Mhm.
it's how do we navigate that? It's not a one size fits all approach. It's about
Yeah.
intuitive action that's congruent and aligned to them as individuals to build the business how they need to and market the
Mhm.
business how they need to for them. And so I appreciate you saying the uniqueness of it because it really is not meant to be one size fits all because that's how you have
Mhm.
business owners who are frustrated, who are stuck,
Mhm.
who are stagnant, and who are wondering what's wrong with them and going down this whole mindset tunnel that we do not want to go down when in
Mhm.
reality, they just weren't getting what they needed customized to them to help their business and their lives thrive.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Ability Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. This episode of the Infinite Abilities Podcast is brought to you by the one and only Infinite Toolbox, where just like all other toolboxes, we will get the job done, guaranteed. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to save time, boost revenue, or automate your processes, Infinite Toolbox has got you covered. With powerful tools designed to drive leads, expand your reach, and gain your industry secrets, we help you work smarter, not harder. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Visit us at infinitetoolbox.com. That's infinitetoolbox.com and discover how infinite your potential really is. All right, everyone, I'm excited about today's guest. Her name is Taylor, and she's doing some amazing things. And I can't wait for her to share her story, and it's going to help you a lot. So, Taylor, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for having me on the show, Nick. It's an honor. And for everyone listening, thanks for listening. As he mentioned, my name is Taylor Proctor, and I am a business coach, and I'm dedicated to helping entrepreneurs get good at business so they can get back into the heart of why they got into business in the first place. And the way
I
that we
love
do
that.
that, yes, right? We all get into business for a reason, and then we become
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, and it's like, oh,
Yeah. Yep.
all these other things that I have to do. And so I really am dedicated to helping these entrepreneurs get good at business, then get back into the heart,
Mhm.
whether it was to have more time with their family or offer transformation and solutions to their clients, make more money, whatever that reason that you got into business was, escape the
Mhm.
cult of corporate capitalism, whatever it is, right? Helping you get back to the heart of why you got into business so that you can really thrive and have an aligned life.
I love how you say that. Get right back into the heart of why you started your business, and that's so important because you know some of us don't know what our why. Like our why isn't quite big enough, so then we tend to slow down and not try to grow. And then with people like you and me, and we help business owners look at, okay, why are you doing this, and why are you here to help people? And a lot of times what we do is we really help people realize oh, I have a purpose a lot bigger than I thought. And then, people tend to strive way further than they ever thought possible.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I love to do is I utilize my method called Imove, which stands for intuition, marketing, operations, velocity, and execution. And the
Hmm.
I of Imove is the first part, that intuition, so that they can take aligned and congruent action. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
taking business action that is getting them nowhere, keeping them stagnant, or that they're dreading doing because somebody said that's how it has to be. Instead, we
Mm-hmm.
take an aligned look, a congruent look, starting with that why, and then help them get that massive momentum in their marketing, supported by the operational processes that allow them to scale, which then gives them room to add velocity without burnout and ultimately
Mm-hmm.
execute with ease. And that's the iMove method.
That's awesome. I love that. And a lot of times I know for me, if your why is big enough, the how will reveal itself. And I know that's happened for me. Like, I'll kind of start to slow down, and then I remind myself why I'm doing it, and then, visualize what I want, all the people I want to help, and then it kind of gets me back on track. And then it's awesome because, like, I might not know how to do some things, but then, like, the solutions to my problems, like, just reveal themselves, and it's really remarkable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love to work with my clients when they're feeling that stuck space. It's okay. They're getting caught up in the how, but if
Yeah.
you look at it reverse, so it's what is it that you want, right? Or what is it we're trying to accomplish? Why? And those are the first two that are pretty easy. But then most people jump to the how and get stuck. But if you go what and why, and then who is it impacting, and then where, so who, what, where, when, and then why. So if you take off the how, you answer the 5 W's, and then the how kind of takes care of itself because you figured out not only what is it I want to do, why do I want to do it, who does it serve, when will I do it, or when will I launch, and where will I do it. And now the where is interesting because that can be like, oh, we're going to serve them this online, or where in my house am I going to do it, right? You can be a little bit more specific. But you build out all of those pieces, and then the how just falls into place, and you don't get that stuck in the, well, I don't know how to do this, or it's way too big, because you've answered those 5 W's before getting to the how. And then it's like, well, how would I do this if I was doing it in my podcast studio at 10 o'clock in the morning? Now you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go live on Facebook. I'm going to do this, this, this. And so it takes care of itself, just like you mentioned, if you can do the what, why, who, where, when, and then the how.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that, and I'm I use that on myself. So thank you. And that's why I love podcasting. I've learned so much since I started this. You are episode 87, so that's exciting. I started about 12 weeks ago, so we're just rocking and rolling.
I love it. Well, congratulations, and I'm honored to be number 87.
Thank you. So when you're helping your clients, what is the common theme as far as the problems that you help solve?
Yeah. So it really depends on who I'm working with, but I tend to work with entrepreneurs, mostly females, that have been in business anywhere between 1 to 5 years, are making good money. They're pretty significant. They're helping in the online service-based space. They're either just starting to get a contracted team, or they already have a few contractors, but not employees, that are helping them out. And they have that vision for wanting to change the world. They want those extra commas in their bank account. But when it comes to what are the next steps to help them get there, that's where they're struggling. And so I help them through utilization of the Imove method get to those next levels. So for example, I have one client right now. She's already a 6-figure business owner. She's causing and going through some shifts in her business and in her life. And so we're really heavily emphasizing on the intuition part of Imove and the operations part of Imove. Intuition to help her take aligned and congruent action to build offers and programs and marketing that really supports an audience that she really wants to work with. And operationally, we're looking at how she can set up her business in ways that allow her the space to intuitively connect, but also really provide top level service and build those relationships. And so we're really focusing on those 2 key areas of the Imove method. I have another that we're focusing solely on the marketing piece. We're building out her messaging, her content pillars, and all these components to help support building to those next steps. And so it really depends on where someone is at and what they need help and support with. But the Imove method is really there to offer that support wherever they need it, depending on where they are at in their business. And my background and the way I was able to build the Imove method is I have over 15 years of experience in marketing, leadership, operations, strategy, etc. And I ran corporate divisions and departments for several years, took one team and division from 0 team members other than myself to 30, from 1 service to 5, from 1 language to 5, even spent 6
Wow.
weeks living in Edinburgh, Scotland, setting up our European team. And within 3 years, we did all of that and had multi-million dollars of revenue for the business. On top of
Mhm.
that, I have ownership in 4 distinct companies. I'm a co-owner in a health and wellness suicidality prevention organization, a co-owner in a women's international multimedia and tech company, and then also a co-owner in a nutraceuticals manufacturing and shipping and supply company. And then, of course,
Wow.
my coaching company, which I'm not a co-owner in, I'm a full owner in. But
Yeah.
with that years of experience in leading corporate teams and divisions as an intrapreneur, plus my
Mhm.
entrepreneurial experience over the years, I have found that if I just called it the move method,
Mhm.
it would get me part of the way there. Like I knew my marketing, I knew my operations, I know the strategies, I know how to execute. And a lot of entrepreneurs do, but then it would start to hit those brick walls because they
Mhm.
weren't taking that intuitively led action. They weren't
Mhm.
tapping into what made sense to them. And so they just run into that wall again and again and again, or be like, I know I can do more and it can be better, but I just don't know how. And so
Yeah.
that's how I created the I move method to really help and support them where they need the help and support to grow their
Mhm.
business, get those extra commas, meet that vision, and get back to the heart of why they got into business in the first place.
That's so awesome. You have, such a large background, and you've done a lot. So you're very knowledgeable in
Thank you.
various different fields, and that's what makes you an incredible business coach, because you're taking what you've learned over the years and you're helping other business owners. And a lot of times that's how entrepreneurship happens. It's
Right.
like we solve problems for ourselves, and we go, hey, I can help other people solve the same problems. So I think that's very powerful, and I love what you're doing. I love your message, and I love how you work with your clients. I
Thank you.
think it's very unique, so that makes it really, really awesome.
Thank you. And I want to highlight in on that unique piece for a second too, because I'm sure you see this. There's a lot of generic, regenerated business advice.
Yep.
And most of my clients, by the time they come to me, they're like, yeah, I worked with a business coach for a year and didn't get anything out of it. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that breaks my heart. Not for
Mm-hmm.
any purpose and reason other than I'm so sorry that they went through that and that
Yep.
they didn't get anything out of it. But
Mm-hmm.
additionally, like I love working within the I move method to where my clients need the support because not every business is the exact same. And so when you're working with someone, it says, oh, well, just do this, 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 and you'll be successful. What ends
Mm-hmm.
up happening is we're entrepreneurs. We are A players, right? We are going to go in and get it done. So we follow that checklist. And what happens? One of two things. You either fall flat on your face and you
Mm-hmm.
were like, well, it worked for them and it worked with a couple other people in the group. Why didn't it work for me?
Mm-hmm.
And that causes
Yeah.
the mindset piece to spiral down.
Yep.
Or it works, but it's unsuccessful in who you are, meaning it works, but after 3 months, you're like, okay, I am drained. I don't like my business.
Mm-hmm.
I am worried about and anxious getting on phone calls with my clients. Like I've built this thing, built this monster that's not in control and I'm losing because of it. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's how do we navigate that? It's not a one size fits all approach. It's about
Yeah.
intuitive action that's congruent and aligned to them as individuals to build the business how they need to and market
Mm-hmm.
the business how they need to for them. And so I appreciate you saying the uniqueness of it because it really is not meant to be one size fits all because that's how you have
Mm-hmm.
business owners who are frustrated, who are stuck,
Mm-hmm.
who are stagnant, and who are wondering what's wrong with them and going down this whole mindset tunnel that we do not want to go down when in
Mm-hmm.
reality, they just weren't getting what they needed customized to them to help their business and their lives thrive.
Yep. Exactly. Like you said, every business is different.
Mhm.
Everybody needs different things. Everybody's at a different point. So yeah, a one size fits all approach doesn't usually work at all.
No,
So I'm.
well, it doesn't work. And it really is this concept of there's a million ways to make $1 million. So
Mhm.
if someone is like, and I've had people say this, well, My last coach, they told me that I had to do short form video. Actually, I'll share this story if I can really quick. I was working with a
Okay.
client
Yeah.
who's a 7-figure entrepreneur, business coach. She's a coach and business owner. And was working with someone and they said to her, well, you really need to hone in on your short form content, which is a fair assumption in today's age. But also they were like, your stories are too long winded. No one wants to hear it. You need to cut them down to less than a minute. Now, this woman, 7-figure entrepreneur already, okay, millions, multiple 7 figures. She gets in her own head and she's like, well, I now I got to condense it. And how do I condense it? And all these things. And now I got to record it in a minute and all this stuff. So she ends up coming to me. We're working on stuff in her business. And she brings up, yeah, I'm really struggling. I can't create videos. And as we talk, she's like, yeah, I love storytelling. And if you're into human design or anything like that, she's like, I have a storytelling gate or channel. And she's like, I'm meant to be a storyteller, but I just can't sit down and record these short form contents. And so like, I haven't been creating any videos. And I was like, okay, well, when you created videos in the past, how did they work? And she goes, well, I would talk and I would share the stories and they were great. And I'd always get lots of great feedback and it was incredible. And I said, okay, did you ever get sales from when you did these long, quote unquote, winded stories? And she's like, oh yeah, every time. And I'm like, okay, so let's put short form on the back burner. What I'm hearing is that you love to tell stories. You're a master storyteller. Your audience has told you they're on the edge of their seat wanting to hear more from you. And you have made sales and gotten clients and results from long form story content. Why in the world would we go from 100 miles per hour there down to 0 trying to make it short form? We were trying, the last coach was trying to fit her in a little square box because that's what that coach had seen work for other people or maybe for themselves, but it wasn't what would work for this person. Keep in mind, 7-figure entrepreneur already and hitting those mindset blocks because someone said it had to be this way. And in truth, that wasn't aligned and congruent for her. And so, yes, there's a million ways to make $1 million. There's a million ways to market your business. And if something is not aligned, the more you try to force it, again, we went from 100 miles per hour. She's creating videos, great stories, landing clients, getting to work with these incredible people because of it, to no marketing and no videos whatsoever because she was told she had to do short form. We just can't do that as entrepreneurs. We can't afford the time, the effort, the energy of all of that that's misaligned.
No, if something is working for your business, keep on doing it. Like, keep on doing it. And you can experiment, throw a, in this case, throw out a short one, see what happens. If it goes good, cool, do a couple more of those. But yeah, like, I'm all about, like, if it's working, don't screw it up. Just keep on doing it, So.
Well, and I was working with a client the other day, and she's a 6-figure entrepreneur. And she had I love this idea of experimentation because she was like, oh, I could do this and I could do this and I could do this and I could do this. And I could do an offer like this. And people say I should do an offer like this. And I'm like, okay, like what offers are you putting out? None, right? She had twisted herself up, right? Yep. And so it was like, everybody has, right? We twist ourselves up in the shoulds and the coulds and it needs to be right, air quotes around right. And so when you can look at your business as an experiment and take that pressure off that this has to be the thing, instead it's, okay, let's experiment with this. Let's experiment with this. So in her case, we did some belief breakthrough work around things being right, things being perfect, etc. And as we ended the session, the concept and the idea for her to walk away with was, if I was experimenting in my business and I could do whatever I wanted, what would I do? And 4 days later, she hops on a group Q&A call because we have a hybrid program. And she hops on a group Q&A call and says, I just have to share, I had this idea for a 4-hour intensive, which I'd never thought of before. And I just put it out there to a couple of pre-existing clients. They said, absolutely. I've already sold 4 of them. One of them we've already executed on and they loved it. I loved it. And it's like, this is the experiment to test. And so by that experimentation mindset, in her case, and I think we've all been there too, right? If we were able to get out of that, like, it has to be perfect mindset and all that pressure, Now she's having fun again in her business. She's making sales like that. It's easy, it's effortless. And it's because we took her out of the twisted in knots, it's got to be perfect, and said, hey, let's just experiment. Let's just throw this out there and see how you like it. Because the other part of it was she has this idea for a 4-hour intensive. Well, she sells 4, doesn't like them. She now knows that that's not something she's going to put on her list of offerings. As opposed to before, where it was like, well, I could do this offer and this offer and this offer and this offer, but what if I don't like it? Or what if it takes too much time? And it's like, well, experiment and test. So I love that you brought up experimentation, because I think that is a crucial part for any entrepreneur to get good at business.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun when you can just be like, all right, let's try this. It sounds like fun. I think it will help people. Let's see if it works. And yeah, it makes your business a lot more fun, way more enjoyable. And then, it's good to not get stuck in the details and like, I gotta make this perfect before I launch it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just throw the idea out there. If anything, if you have an idea, throw the idea out there and see what people think before you even work on it. Like, I like seeing people do that. It's like, just, I commit first, and then if people like it, go for it. I think that's really cool.
Well, and it's so interesting too, because I went to a conference years and years ago, and I love this concept, and something I do for myself. And if it aligns for my clients, I recommend it as well, which is I went to a, who was it? I think it was JT Fox. I don't follow him anymore. I don't know anything about him going on now, but I got a free ticket to one of his conferences and went to it. And at it, he had said that everyone had said, write a book, write a book, write a book, write a book, write a book. And he was like, well, I don't want to go through all of that to write a book and then have to sell it and all these other things. And so instead, what he did is he started a pre-orders page before the book was even written. So he creates this pre-orders page where you can buy and pre-order the book. And he listed out the outline of what they'd receive, but pretty much said like, hey, to himself, if I get 100 people who pre-order the book, then I'll write the book. If I don't get 100 people that pre-order the book, then I will just refund the money.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
There you go. Yeah.
And he got over, I think it was like 400, 500 people pre-ordered the book. And he's like, now I have the motivation to write the book. It's paying for itself. It's pre-sold. It's like all of these things come into place because he was willing to throw it out there and test it and experiment. But also, like, there's nothing that says it has to be completely done before you can sell. And if you're open and honest with your audience, like he didn't put a date on when it would be arriving. He didn't stray from the outline. Actually, I don't even know if he's written a book, but I remember that story of him being, and now I'm going to write a book because there's people relying on me. There's people who've already bought it, and I'm going to execute and share within the context of what I said the book would be about. And if we can do that as entrepreneurs in any capacity, right? Hey, I'm thinking of hosting a retreat. Okay, well, date TBD, but maybe sometime in October. Hey, who would be interested in a retreat where we do this, 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 and this would be the price? Oh, there's 10 people who said yes. Okay, now pre-sell it and say, okay, we're going to do it in Costa Rica. Right now, how many people are able to come in that price point? And all, like, you can build as you go. And it doesn't even have to be pre-selling offers. I host business conferences, virtual and in person. And my very first virtual business conference or business summit, get good at business summits. There's a common theme in what I do. But on the back end, I was like, hey, I'm looking for speakers. And then I hosted speaker application calls. And then I figured out what questions I need to ask by having those application calls. And then it was like, all right, now what do we need? Okay, now I need to build the website. Now I need this. Okay, what's the stuff that they need as a speaker? Let me put all that in place. And we built it as we went. Well, now we are almost 5 of those summits deep. And it's a well-oiled machine because we built the operations as we went instead of trying to solve for problems that I wouldn't have been able to even comprehend until I was in and actually doing it. And as entrepreneurs, we have to be that way to succeed. And we always hear fail fast, fail forward. And part of that is making these decisions quickly and moving forward, because that's the only way. Otherwise, you're spending months and months and months and months building, designing, creating this thing that may not even sell to your ideal audience.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. I agree. And I love that, I fail forward because, it's not really failures when you learn and you keep on going. That's how I look at it. Like, oh, don't do that. How should we do it? So yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that's awesome.
Thomas Edison, I didn't, there wasn't 1,000 ways. I didn't fail 10,000 times. I learned 10,000 ways that it didn't work.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, something like that. Yep. Awesome. So I gotta ask you, and I see your picture behind you of the infinity symbol, so I love that. So I gotta ask you, what does my slogan, "Your abilities are infinite," mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I love this. First off, I love that we're twinsies with our infinity signs.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then what does that mean to me? I think it means that we can really do whatever we put our minds to. And to me, that's a big part of identity, right? You're just like a growth mindset where your intelligence and your ability to learn is not locked. Your identity isn't either. And there's a big shift when we go from, like I said, I was a corporate leader for years, right? And I've held C-suite positions and things like that, where it was an identity shift to go from powerhouse there to powerhouse entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, multiple business owner, right? Podcaster. I mean, anything you want to put in that place, international speaker, right? There's an identity piece that has to come with that. But just like a growth mindset where your ability to learn is infinite, your identities and choosing who you want to be and where you want to go is also infinite. And putting that on the business space, right? Your abilities within all of those areas are infinite because you are an infinite being who is here to do what you want to do on this planet, and there are no rules. Therefore, there's no rules, there's no limitations, making it infinite.
Yep. I absolutely love that. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. So how can people reach out to you?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. So you can, like I said, there's a common theme. Everything we do is get good at business. So if you go to getgoodatbusiness.com, you can find more information out about our services. Soon we will have a assessment going live up on the site, so you can take a free assessment about where you fall within the Imove method and you might need help and support in. Also, we have a Facebook group, if that's more your jam, where we host and interview a variety of business owners every week so that we can all learn and get good at business together. Common theme here is the Facebook group is called Get Good at Business. We also have the Get Good at Business podcast. Like I said, that's the theme. Most of the social handles are Get Good at Business. So if you can remember that you want to get good at business, then you're able to find me and we can help you do that together.
That is so awesome. I love it when people keep everything the same. It makes it a whole lot easier. So yeah, awesome. All right, this has been really great, Taylor. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
Of course. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me here, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors. So let's just get it out there by word of mouth, help more people. Alright, everyone. Remember, your abilities are infinite.